Welcome back to my Tell All Thursdays podcast. My name's Chelsea with Realty One Group Empire. I'm on Hometown Agents team with Tiffany Granado and Associates, and I am here with another podcast story. This is episode 2. If you didn't already watch the first video, please take a look at that. I hope you guys enjoyed that first video, and I look forward to continue making these. I did want to touch a little bit more on when I got licensed and just kind of give a little bit more of an insight for those new realtors looking to become a real estate agent who are either newly licensed or would like to get licensed. The time period from when I got my first deal, it was almost a year. So, that's pretty common. Wouldn't let that steer you away from the business. I got licensed August 2019, and there was actually a 6-month gap period before I actually hung my license with Realty One Group Empire, and that was in February 2020. That 6-month gap period was due to the fact that I was pregnant with my first child, and I just, took it easy with my pregnancy and, waited till about a month or two until after she was born to actually get real estate going and hang my license somewhere. And I chose Realty One Group Empire because they just have a phenomenal atmosphere here. And I just love the way when I walk in, the offices feel, and it just felt like me. So that's why I chose Realty One, and I've been here ever since, and I don't plan on leaving. I will say, when I hung my license in February 2020, it took me 8 months to get my first deal, and that was the rental deal that I touched basis on in my first episode. And that first rental deal was September 2020. So then after that, my official real estate deal that was not a rental actually took me 10 months. So my first deal was November 2020. Let's keep in mind that by March, April of 2020, this is when this so-called thing happened called COVID. That was my first active year as a realtor, having to endure a worldwide crisis during my first year was, to say the least, challenging. But I got through it. We pushed through it, and I'm still here now. And I've gone through some pretty crazy markets. I'm here to tell you all the stories of my transactions, and I hope that you guys enjoy these episodes of me telling you these stories, and hopefully some of you guys can relate. But everyone pretty much has a different story on their transactions because they're just so different. They're not cookie cutter, and you just never know what you're getting with each transaction. But going through that COVID market was a very different for everyone. I mean, it was this new thing. We didn't know what was going to happen. And we kind of just rolled with the punches as we got them. So it was definitely trial and error and doing things and, following the CDC guidelines and wearing the masks and wearing the booty covers. So we were definitely essential workers, and we weren't sure at first, but we established that, people need housing, and whether there was a world crisis going on or not, we were going to have to show people homes, and, we were just going to have to adjust and figure it out. We would have to wear those masks. We would have to wear those foot coverings. We would have to schedule gaps in between showings just to avoid, big crowds. And, with the open houses, we really couldn't have open houses. First deal that I did, I believe at the time we were paying for Zillow leads, my team that I was currently on at the time. And this lead was referred to me, and I just remember it being such a hard deal. And mind you, this is my first transaction. I'm going through this COVID market. That's all new, and we're just rolling with the punches. And then I get this deal, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. I'm not turning down anything, whether it's a rental client or an actual transaction. I'll take anything at this point. I'm hungry. I want these deals, So she's looking in the high desert area and I'm the first time home buyer. And I don't remember showing her that many homes before we actually opened up escrow on our property. So that was good. But this property that we put an offer in happens to be a probate sale. And, with this being my first deal, I didn't know how to do probate sales. I didn't know about court approvals being needed, from the judge and everything that comes with the probate sale. Because this was my first deal, I had to learn throughout the process. I had a team that helped me every step of the way and, held my hand so that I knew what I was doing and so that my client was represented correctly and professionally. But I just remember the deal being terrible. And for my client, she may have felt some of that at some point towards the end, but not to the extent that us realtors behind the scenes feel. We are the ones who deal with all the stress. I don't want to say all the stress. The buyers definitely, go through some stress as well and excitement and a bunch of different emotions. We as realtors try to limit your guys' stress as much as possible for the buyers, even for the sellers. And we try to be those problem solvers and make sure that if an issue arises, we nip it in the butt right away. We make sure that there's a solution before we even present this problem to the seller or the buyer so that they don't have to worry and they can feel confident that we have everything under control and know what we're doing. But I just remembered this deal. Every deadline that we had to meet, there was like literally a hiccup. And, this was during the COVID times. Lenders were slammed during these COVID times. There was just so many deals happening that extensions were just, being made one after another. And so particularly this lender had bad communication. And I just remember, which is a huge deal, us realtors and lenders and just everyone in the whole process of the transaction, the title company, the escrow company, we all need to have great communication and we all need to be on the same page. We all need to know what's going on in order for everything to flow correctly and be on time in the timely manner and meet the deadlines. So without communication, things will just fall apart. No one's on the same page. So after opening a deal within the first 3 business days, you have to submit your EMD, which is your earnest money deposit, right? So within the first 3 business deals of opening up escrow, you submit your EMD. And then after that is you schedule your home inspection for your buyer. And then after that, or simultaneously, I should say, your lender should already be getting disclosures ready and ordering the appraisal and doing a lot of behind the scenes work that, you don't see as a buyer. But that the realtor knows is going on and, they should be definitely in sync with communication, knowing what's going on. So with this being my first deal, I didn't know that I needed to possibly be on top of these lenders with ordering an appraisal. I had no idea. I was just like, okay, like that's, I opened up the deal. I already had my buyer deposit the EMD. I already scheduled the home inspection. I'm doing everything that I need to do at this point, and they need to be doing their stuff. They hadn't ordered the appraisal, which if the appraisal is not scheduled right away within the first week, that can cause big delays. We aren't going to meet our deadlines that we need to and be able to close on time. So with that being said, this was a probate sale and it needed to meet all deadlines, because if we didn't meet those deadlines, there was a possibility that the listing agent was going to have to go back to court and get court approval again from the judge in order to proceed, with the current deal. And it would just be, we would have to start all over. And, it's just a can of worms if you're not meeting the deadlines, especially on a probate sale. It's a lot more stricter, right? So it was stressful, to say the least. And appraisal ends up being delayed. I had no idea. My team members texting me like, hey, has the appraisal been scheduled, And I'm like, I don't know, like, let me follow up with the lender. I messaged this lender like several times. They wouldn't respond. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I don't get it. My team member would assure me like, no, you're doing everything right. You're asking the right questions. You're staying on top of it. You're doing everything that you can to ensure your client that you're staying, on top of everything to meet these deadlines. But it's not your fault that this lender is not answering you. And so I would just get ghosted by this lender. And I just thought that was so crazy, like so unprofessional for this lender to just ghost me during a transaction. Like, we're literally supposed to be working together and have good communication. Like, what is going on? Right. So, my team member would be like, they're slammed with deals right now. He's probably, behind on yours and just doesn't want to say that. He's probably doing it now. And hopefully they get back to me soon, because we need to know if it hasn't been ordered, because if it hasn't, then that means the CD's been pushed out, and, just a bunch of things that can go downhill if the appraisal hasn't been ordered yet. I even end up having to get like their management involved, which is crazy wild, considering with realtors and lenders, like, you're self-employed for the most part. You hang your license with the brokerage, but for the most part, you run your business how you want. But this person just wasn't being responsive in the way that we needed in order for the deal to work. So I have to take a little bit of a higher, go up a little bit higher in order to get some answers that we needed. So another thing that's very important in a deal, and, during my first deal I was having issues with, is that this client, her schedule was pretty slammed. And because of that, things would get delayed. Like, if the lender asks you for something, you need to make sure that you submit that document to them within a timely manner so that things don't get delayed. And I guess we were having issues with this client submitting documents that we needed, and I had no idea, because the lender was not communicating with me to tell my client like, hey, you need to submit this. Like, why haven't you submitted it? Like, they need this in order to do this. And there just was no communication, and I can't fix or help if I don't know, right? So it's just crucial that your client's on top of any documents that we're requesting. It takes the pressure off of them and you as a realtor to make sure that everything is in for the file that's needed, so that the lender can just finalize the loan and do what they need to do on their end. So not only was this client a first-time home buyer, but she was also getting her funds gifted, which all funds need to be sourced. And so before you start moving around and your cousin's money into different bank accounts and everything, make sure you talk to your lender first about what you should do and how you should do it. You can't just be transferring and wiring money to different accounts. It needs to be sourced. It needs to be, able to be traced back. And gifting for a client or for a first-time homebuyer to have money gifted, or anyone to have money gifted, it's very particular how the lender wants, or the lender is very particular in who they want to see as the gifter. It can't just be just a random relative, an aunt or something like that. They likely want it to be an immediate family member, mom, dad, or husband. I also accept fiance, but if it's your boyfriend and a cousin or someone long distance, usually they don't like that, because there's really no commitment. A longtime friend, they will accept as well. It really depends on how it's worded to the lender. However, for this client, her gifter was her boyfriend. It wasn't her fiance. It wasn't a close family member. It wasn't a close friend. So we had some major issues with this client, or with the lender, I should say, approving this client's gifter because it was her boyfriend. So it definitely delayed the process and gave us a huge hiccup. We definitely had to make some adjustments. This client ended up becoming a homeowner. We got the deal done. That's what was important. But at the end of the day, she was a single mom who was working her butt off for her children to become a homeowner, to have a roof over their head, and provide for them. And so this was a huge accomplishment for her, and it felt so good for the both of us to come to an end and be able to hand her those keys and tell her that she was a homeowner. Like, it was just so empowering. And I hope that this is empowering to become a homeowner when, you're single and you have children that you have to take care of and provide. But it's so possible, guys. If you guys are out there renting homes and paying these crazy rental amounts, it's likely you can afford a mortgage too. Why pay someone else's when you can pay your own? And it's just a matter of talking to a lender, talking to a realtor, getting the steps, putting them in place, and getting you where you need to be in order to qualify. So that pretty much wraps up the first transaction that I ever had. And from then on, my deals started to come in the following year. We'll touch bases more on my other deals in the next episodes. I just want to say that, becoming a homeowner, it's scary and it's stressful, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And if you just take that next step into talking to a lender, talking to a realtor, taking those next steps so that you can become a homeowner, you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. And if you're struggling with just taking that first step just to see where you're at, please message me and reach out. I can definitely help you and guide you in the direction that you need to go in order to become a homeowner. And I want that for all my family and friends that aren't homeowners yet. And I truly just can't wait to hand them keys and watch them succeed and just get ahead and not have to continue renting and just break the cycle and become the homeowner. So if you're looking to purchase a home and you don't know where to start, please reach out. Again, my name's Chelsea. I'm glad you joined me for this Tell All Thursdays podcast, and I'm excited to continue doing these. If you like these, please comment down below. Don't be a ghost follower, a ghost watcher. Please comment, like, share, and let me know. Give me feedback, and I hope that I will see you next week.